Hello my fellow airsoft enthusiasts. Today we are working on part 2 of the Echo1 GAT, which is finishing up on installing the upgrades, and hopefully we can chrono before the stream ends today. So last stream we got only to the shimming of the gearbox and modifying the motor cage to fit the brushless motor. So if you're interested in seeing the part 1 of this Echo1 GAT upgrade series, later tonight I'm going to upload a summarized video on my YouTube channel, Wyshtech Airsoft. If you haven't subscribed to that channel yet, I highly suggest go in there and check out some of the videos. All you gotta do is search up Wyshtech Airsoft. It'll be the first thing that pops up. So with that out of the way, let's get into it. So off camera, outside the stream, I modified the crap out of this motor cage just so that this motor, first of all, will sit in the motor cage here, and I had to modify it to where it can move back as far as it is possible, because I was having issues getting the bevel gear to mesh up to the pinion gear without it binding really hard, you know what I mean? So once I did that, I had to opt out the bearing that I had here with the solid bushing, and I even had to mill this bushing down even thinner than it already was so that I can properly get that bevel to shim further close to this side of the gearbox. That way I can properly shim, bevel, pinion on the motor here. Successfully did that. Shimming's done. Motor's set to go. We're all set. The only things that are left to do is to mod the piston rails for area of engagement and solder the MOSFET onto the trigger switch, and then of course assembling this guy. So I left out doing those outside the streams so that you guys can watch me solder on the Perun MOSFET AB++ and show you guys also how I modify the piston rails for area engagement correction. I've done this so many times that I already know before even testing that I'm going to have to modify the rails, and there's a specific way that I do it every time, and I'm going to show you guys how I do that here in a bit. So we're going to get to that, and I'm going to transfer you guys over to the other camera and show you how I do it. So as you can see, I have the rail in my vise nice and clamped down. I use a grinding disc, and I always grind down this tooth all the way down nice and flat. I get it close, and then I file it the rest of the way down nice and flat. And then this tooth right here, I grind it down about halfway. That way the sector gear doesn't pick up that tooth too early and cause a premature engagement. So that out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and shut off my mic. That way you guys don't have to listen to the loud grinding noises. And I'm gonna mill this sucker down. I'm looking at it from the side to see if it's at an angle or not. I don't want it angled like this. It's okay to have it angled like this way. Not too much, but just enough, because that is the direction that the tooth comes in and hits this pickup tooth right here. And having it at an angle, it's not going to hurt anything. I'd rather have it facing that way than the other way. And it's looking pretty good. So yeah, it's about halfway cut down, which is what you want when you're doing area engagement and you're grinding your teeth. And the reason being, if you don't grind these two teeth down, this one all the way and this one partial, is because when you do area engagement, your sector gear will grab this tooth instead of this one and cause a premature engagement or lock up your gearbox. So that being said, we're gonna go ahead and get this rack nice and clean and prepped for glue, and we're gonna glue this into the piston. Before I do, there's one thing I need to check. I'm gonna check area engagement real quick. Cylinder head here is factory, but I cleaned it up really good. Checked the seals and stuff. This cylinder head does not leak whatsoever. And I do plan on using a AOE correction pad right here from Bugatti, and I'm gonna stick it right here for that area engagement. And not only that, to help cushion that slap of the piston. Because our goal here, one of our goals here, is to make this GAT shoot a little quieter, and this is going to help. This is 60 degree. It's about the same hardness of this rubber. This rubber is a little harder, but this is a little softer, so it should help with that a little bit. We'll see once this gun's all together, but that's what I plan on doing right here. So I'm not going to adhere it just yet. So for now, I'm just going to push it in like this, hold it upright, then, okay, that ball. I'm going to set that down. I'm going to put the piston head on for now. Oh, come on. This is on there pretty damn good. Not gonna lie, guys. Shit. That's what I had to do is cut a slit into it. This stuff is like no joke. Right, Garrett? This is Garrett's GAT, by the way. He's in the stream with us right now. Garrett, say hi. It is really on there now. Way better than it was. So that sucker ain't coming off. Hell no. This nozzle by EPES has dual O-rings and they're separated. It's nothing like the Max nozzles. This is better in my opinion. But since they put the nozzle like halfway up the, the O-ring halfway up this nozzle, it keeps it more centered and keeps it from flopping around, which will give it more consistent FPS and therefore better accuracy. But check this out, Garrett. All right, I'm gonna grab the tappet plate. I'm gonna use the tappet plate to hold the nozzle forward as if the gun is about to release the piston. So I'm gonna hold it just like this. Put my thumb over the nozzle. Watch this. Still pushing pretty damn hard. Look at that compression. And EPES nozzles have a tighter inner diameter tolerance. Like on this, for example, it's like a pinch movement up and down, side to side, to make it easier to do nozzle alignment if you need to do it. Okay, is the mic still on? Okay, cool. All right. So you notice that I nicked these two teeth a little bit. That's fine. It's not gonna hurt anything. I've done this many times and this doesn't cause any issues whatsoever. You don't even hear that these teeth the way they are right now when it cycles. I grazed this pickup tooth just a little bit, but it's barely scratched. But this is gonna get grease all over it, so we won't have to worry about rust. This is the signal wire, and the way I'm wiring this is that the black and red thick wires are going to be left alone until we get the whole wiring harness together on the gearbox. That way I can get these cut exactly to the length that I need to make contact with the motor, because these two are going straight to the motor. This is your signal wire. This is what's going to go to that switch right here. What I'm going to do, I've already went ahead off camera and got the length that I needed for this wire, because we're going to solder, take this wire off this switch, and then we're going to take this wire and solder it right there. And then we're going to cut this wire right here, separate it, and we're going to take another piece of wire that I have here, solder it to the other terminal, and then make a connection here and solder that together, then put shrink wrap over it. So that's what I'm going to do, and you guys can just watch. Oh yeah, I got the buffer tube attachment on the way. I just gotta wait for it. Hop up sat like this. So if it's gonna be rear wired, I might have to make an extension for right here, because when we put this up here, yeah, clearly, I mean, I could solder an extension wire here, but you won't be able to. Well, I take that back. I can extend this so it fits back there. So here we go. Good and tight. Let's check them out. So the solder went from one side of the wire to the other. So that's a good bond. Now we can use the shrink wrap to hide it, cover it up, and protect it. I like this shrink wrap that I got right here because it not only protects the wire, but it also has silicone grease that comes out when you heat it up. And then I just spread it around, spread it evenly on the spur. It's always a good idea to wipe the grease on top of the spur, because when, like, if you ever have any issues of shooting your gun and it just sounds like garbage, when you take it apart, the grease is going to be arranged differently from the sector gear if you didn't shim it right. So that way it helps you figure out what went wrong. I'm probably going to go with an M100. I know though that's basically saying we're putting this thing at 350 when the M100 I have will actually put this at 1.5 joules. For some reason, it's overrated, or underrated, excuse me. It's labeled underrated. Great, I'm gonna have an issue with this too. Come on, there you go. Okay, so I got a tappet plate spring in. I was the one that found the biodegradable bees for friend for Christmas. Okay, I gotta open up the gearbox. It's binding up on the tappet plate really hard. Yeah, I'm gonna have to save it for the next stream, guys. I might do it off stream when I get a chance to work on this thing. So, okay, so to recap of what happened in the stream before we go, we got the wiring all soldered up, connected to the motor. We opted in to solder the wires to the motor. Shimming's done. We got area correction made. We got perfect seal between from the piston head to out the nozzle. Absolutely no leaks whatsoever, which is pretty impressive because not all airsoft guns can do that. Got an M100 in it right now, but this particular M100 from experience should get this thing about 1.5 joules as requested from the customer. 1.5 joules with 2/8, so we're probably gonna hit that pretty well because our port is way back here and our barrel is pretty damn short. So we should be able to easily hit that 1.5 joules with 2/8. We've already tested the wiring, make sure it's working, and it works great. We were in the middle of trying to assemble the gearbox and got to a stopping point because found out that the tappet plate for the system is binding up against the sector gear really tight, so which means we have to move some shims around, figure out what's causing it to bind so much. And yeah, other than that, that's all I got, guys. Keep in mind, I am gonna be posting the part 1 of the string series up on the YouTube channel, so keep an eye out for that. If you haven't yet, hit that notification bell over at the YouTube so that when it does get uploaded, you guys are notified and are aware of when it's uploaded, so you don't miss it. Check out Wyshtech.com for any airsoft goodies that you need from in or around my area. We also ship priority from out of Montana. You guys have a great one, and I'll see you on the next one. Take it easy, guys.